Okie dokie. You ready? We good? Okay, if we're rolling, then we're rolling.
So your reputation is you are a rule follower. Yo, Michael Che, I don't know what happened at the table with you and Michael Che. So oftentimes, Uno...
Oh, you know what? So here's the thing. Okay, let's get into this. Actually. This is What Now with Trevor Noah. So, first and foremost, welcome. Welcome to you, the listener / viewer, if you're watching this, and welcome to our guest, the one and only Amir Questlove Thompson, someone who's become synonymous with not just all things music, but I feel like all things good times, which is a great vibe. You know, when you walk through the streets, you go like, man, that person I associate with good times.
Good time guy.
I feel like you made my time a little bit better because I was in Washington, D.C. That's where we are right now. And then I found out you're going to be in Washington, D.C. And I'd been dying to get you on the podcast. And then, as you always do, you made things happen. And I appreciate you for that, genuinely. So welcome to it, because we're going to have such a great conversation today. I know it will be. You know, we're going to be chatting about your new book, all right? Hip Hop is History. Mm-hmm. We're going to be talking about your life, your journey with music, and, man, what happened at the Grammys behind the scenes.
Buckle up.
Oh, boy. I'm excited. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
You know, I picked up your book, and you jump into the book in maybe the most action-packed way ever.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. So I'm obviously biased because I was there when this was happening. Mm-hmm. But in the very...
You hosted.
Yeah, man.
Oh, God, yes. That night. Do you even know what was happening?
So I'll set the stage. I'll set the stage for everybody listening. So it's the Grammys, right? It is the 2023 Grammys. Mm-hmm. 2023 Grammys.
Yeah.
And this is going to be one of the biggest years ever because hip-hop is turning 50, and there's going to be a 50th hip-hop celebration that brings together almost every artist or every performer or every group from hip-hop, from every generation, onto one stage in one mega blockbuster performance. You've never seen anything like this.
Right.
And the man who is tasked with putting this together is the one and only Amir Questlove Thompson. And, you know, you talk about how you said yes before you even thought about it. They said, Amir, you want to do this? You said yes. And just like any amazing action scene in a movie, we are completely in because we're thrust into a world where you realize very quickly that you don't just have to curate a performance that encapsulates 50 years of hip hop into like a 10, 15-minute performance, which is impossible.
Yeah, I thought it was a whole show. I was like getting ready for it.
But then we realized you have to manage all of the egos. Please just break it down for me.
So one of my biggest faults is often that I'm asked to do stuff like months or years ahead of time. You know what I mean? So when someone's asking you, 3 years before something, yeah, you're like, yeah, that'll be exciting.
Right.
I'll do it 3 years from now.
Uh-huh.
So, Jesse Collins and Deanna Harmon asked me they have a way of pitching you that's like super exciting. Like, Amir, we think you should we think you should curate the Hip Hop 50 thing. And I'm on like the cartoon character, like when someone turns somebody into a turkey, like someone salivating at the mouth and all that stuff. And instantly I got to work. I figured, okay, I'm gonna tell the story of hip hop from the breakbeats of 1973 to the, and I'm going through all the eras, and I was like, all right, maybe they'll give me a half hour. So, all right, here's my presentation. And I said, it's 31 minutes. And the way they laughed at me, they're like, no. Just give us like 10 minutes. And then once I looked at the list and realized that it was 10 minutes, I'm like, well, I'm going to have to cut this list in half. Like, I realized instantly what they really signed me up for. What they really wanted to say was, hey, Amir, we would like you to be the bad cop in this situation. And then I realized, oh, I'm going to have to talk to people. Not only that, just go through my phone scroll. Like, not even the luxury of them. You're the Grammys. You can call these people. No, like, I got to get up at 5 a.m. and have a Zoom with Dr. Dre. It was the most 7 intense weeks of my life, of creatively whittling things down to a 10-minute, standard, not to mention the amount of conversations I had to have with people that are like, wait, you want me to fly out there just to do a course?
Yeah.
Like, I'm only doing 8 bars of a course? Hell no, I ain't doing that, So, and then some people were really savvy because they've been in this situation before. And they'll say, like, well, who all going to be there? And then now I got to be careful, like, well, there's hello?
Because the thing is, a lot of people don't realize, some people don't want to be in the same vicinity or on the same stage as other, because it's like everyone's in hip-hop, but not everyone in hip-hop is together.
Right. So then who all going to be there was the first thing. And then now it's like, well, if I really need you to do this, then I got to knock out these 3 people so that you'll show up. So there was a bunch of that.
Oh, man.
Then at one point, there were several groups who weren't even speaking to each other.
Yeah.
Yo, I swear to God, when I see da-da-da-da, yeah, yo, he owed me $3,000 from 1998, son, and da-da-da-da. Look, man, I'll give you the $3,000. Just
man.
So there was a bunch of that happening.
So I'll jump into this part. So night of. So I've seen the rehearsals, but now the thing that people don't realize is the rehearsals for the Grammys are broken down, right? So you rehearse when the people can rehearse, and so it isn't always chronological, so like, if Bad Bunny's opening the show, he might rehearse like after a whole bunch of people, and you're really doing these pieces in segments, and you're doing them, and you got Ben Winston, who's executive producing the whole thing, and you've got the director Hamish, everyone's trying to put this together. But Hip Hop 50, everyone goes, we've never done anything like this. Everyone at the Grammys said, we have never done anything like this.
Oh, I know.
And so on the night, everyone is really nervous. All I keep hearing in my ear is...
So you had an earpiece?
Yeah, I had an earpiece.
So you might have known what I've gone through.
Oh, I knew exactly what you were going through. But I didn't know what you personally were going through. The book lays it out, and it's man.
So you remember the first act, was it Bad Bunny that started the show?
Yeah, so Bad Bunny started the show.
So you remember that whole elaborate thing he did in the audience?
Like he's coming through the audience, they drumming, they banging, Bad Bunny's walking through, and then all of a sudden I hear, we need Amir, we need, okay, guys, we got a bit of a one of the artists, we got it, and I'm like, what is happening? They're like, all right, there's too much noise on this channel, we have to switch you, because something's gone wrong. So now I'm like, what's going wrong? They're like, it's not about this, it's about Hip Hop 50. And as soon as they say that, I'm like, oh no, what has happened? What has happened?
Let me tell you. All right, so I thought my main fear the morning of had nothing to do with the production. I was fine with rehearsals and everything.
Yes.
Like creatively, we were good. There was a new problem. And the new problem was because First Lady Jill Biden was in the house. There's a more intense level of security detail than normal. Which, okay, I've been to the White House a few times, whatever. I understand you're going to have to go through several stages of going through metal detectors and all that. There's a few of my peers in the world of hip hop that are like, nah, son, never, like a never again thing. A never again thing. Like they see metal detectors and they're like, nope, I'm good. So just to kind of appease 2 of these particular figures, we had to go through hell and high water just to make sure that was cool.
Right.
Which once I realized the last person was finally in the house, I had 2 good hours of, so I got changed,
Yeah, you were walking the red carpet.
Right. I went to the red carpet, mess with Taylor a little bit, we joking around.
Jokes to Taylor Swift, living the good life.
Right. Everything was fine. And then the second they introduced Bad Bunny, suddenly I just started getting like, code red, like, get backstage right now. And what I was told was that one of our participants is on his way back to his house in Calabasas because maybe or maybe not security person was a little overzealous in checking our friend's date.
Yeah.
He's instantly like, no. Like, it was just like, this person's not coming back. So what they don't realize is that because we're on a very specific clock in terms of camera coordination, all the visuals you see.
Every cue at the Grammys.
The lights, the dancers.
Every cue is so specific. And that person didn't drop out from the front or the back. They dropped out from the middle.
Right. It's not like a thing where I could just instantly like, hey, we're cutting that song. Now, 9 key people who are not in contact with each other have to be told that we're going to lose like 4 minutes and 27 seconds to like 6 minutes and 6 seconds. We have to cut that part out. But the thing is, it's a live show. And the show's happening already. So you got to wait till commercials and then run to the light guy and say, look, during the Hip Hop 50, 4 minutes and 27 seconds, 6 minutes. Then you got to go to the camera person. Then you got to go to the graphics person. Then you got to go to the choreographer. And then you got to tell the dancers, hey, guys, I'm sorry, but da-da-da just dropped out, so we won't be using you. Like, these people flew out, told their family, I'm going to be on TV, hey.
Yeah, they've been rehearsing.
Right. So it took about 28 minutes to just tell all those people that this particular artist has dropped out.
Wow. And
I thought, okay, we're good. And then part 2 happens, which is,
oh man,
some genius decided, and I'm being sarcastic, to present the Album of the Year award before the presentation. Yeah. And the thing is like, look, dog, this is Kendrick Lamar's time. Like, you've awarded this guy the Pulitzer Prize. He's achieved things.
He's the favorite.
We already know this. We already know this.
But does hip hop know it the same way? Because I feel like
ego's a part of hip hop.
That's what I mean. I feel like nobody in hip hop comes to an award show thinking that they're not going to win the award.
Kendrick rightfully won that Grammy, and one of the nominees was like, I'm going home.
And that nominee was in the performance. I remember this happening in my ear. I got a call from Ben. He was like, Trev, mate, he's like, we just lost another hip hop performer. We're going to try and figure it out. But for now, we might need to move things around. We just got to, and he's like, and then it was panic again.
Yo, so it's 4 minutes left. And we begged him as he's walking out, like, yo, can you? No, I'm going home. And so we have 4 minutes, one, to make all the edits. But then I need somebody to end this thing. And I'll tell you what I did. I found a closet. I said, I opened the closet and went in. They're like, Amir, that's not a room. Oh, no. And they're like, what are you doing in there? I need silence. And literally, I just sat there for 2 minutes, dead silence. Like, all right, what am I going to do?
I thought you were having a mental breakdown because I heard during the cast, they were like, things are going crazy, things are going wild. And then someone said, Amir just went into like a broom closet and he won't come out. And I was like, well, I guess he finally cracked.
No, so this is what I learned
about... The unstoppable force known as Questlove finally cracked.
People think that meditation is like cosmic prayer. Meditation is just, you got to sit in silence for a long time and breathe. And the answer will come to you. Now, let 2 minutes go by, and you can clearly hear them outside the door like...
Yeah.
And I was like... I did that for 2 minutes. 2 minutes left, Amir. And I grabbed my phone. I was like, I can either text Jay-Z right now or Little Uzi Vert. And something told me, like Jay-Z's, he's not the king of no. Let me stop putting that out there. But
he is the king of no.
He's been known to be.
No, but he is the king of no. I think in many ways, Jay has understood the thing that you and I are still working on. He goes, thank you, but no.
Scarcity marketing.
No.
Which I would love to. I would love that. Matter of fact, during the whole Zoom thing of me having to pitch people, Dr. Dre also taught me something because, he gave me a no.
Yeah.
And then I was like, all right, ask him in 2 weeks and nudge him like, come on, pal, can you do this for me? And Dr. Dre, in a way that I haven't seen since my father before, like when you cross that line
Yeah.
and your parent wants to give you that warning before all hell breaks loose. Dr. Dre said in a very serious way, which I now use on people.
Yeah.
He says, Quest, let me tell you something. I really hate to say no twice.
Damn.
And the silence that ended,
Woo!
I was like,
Woo!
1, okay, I will never ask you to do anything in life. 2, I got to use that, like literally. But Jay said no. And I was just like, all right, let me hit Uzi or someone close to him. So I texted his team, and as I pressed send,
your phone dies.
My phone went out.
And so this is crazy because on the outside, we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know how it's going to happen. It plays out, and I won't spoil all of it because I want people to read you got to read the book. But on the outside, yo, let me tell you this: you nailed it, though. You nailed it. You genuinely like. And
I didn't know I nailed it.
And Jay-Z was part of it, basically. Jay-Z rapped along to every single song.
Jay-Z wound up being the star of the show.
Yeah, he did.
Him as audience member.
Yeah.
Was better than him going up doing.
No, it was one of the greatest performances ever.
Right.
ever. We're going to continue this conversation right after this short break. There are a few people who write a book about a topic that they are so inextricably linked to. Mm-hmm. When you talk about the story of hip hop, in many ways, I feel like hip hop has had the same journey that you have had as a human being.
Yeah.
And the two of you have been intertwined, like twin souls.
Yeah.
Because hip hop today seems obvious.
Mm-hmm.
I went to a Rangers game in New York. Someone invited me. They're like, do you want to come watch a hockey game? I went. And the thing that struck me the most was in a stadium that was 99.99% white.
Mm-hmm.
Every time out, they played hip hop. And so I want to know from your perspective,
mm-hmm.
what was the first moment where you felt like hip hop was going to maybe be a thing? Because you talk about being this child who was, I love how you even phrase it. You say you were 8 years old and you were hearing hip hop for the first time. You were washing the dishes with your sister.
My sister and I were doing the dishes, and the intro of Rapper's Delight comes on. And then we hear Sheik's Good Times. So we're just like, oh, it's good times. And then we started hearing people talk, rapping. And we just stopped doing the dishes like, wait, what is this? And, it was like a clock radio in the kitchen. So we turn it up and we look at it. And the longer this song went on, I thought like, oh, I'll never hear this again in my life. So it was a decision to make. Should I run and get a tape recorder and record what I'm hearing? Which is exactly what I did. Like I ran right to my room, got a tape recorder, put the tape recorder to the radio, the clock radio, recorded it, and just sat there and listened. Rapper's Delight was 15 minutes.
Right.
So I came in at like maybe the 3-minute part, and I wrote that entire song down. I was supposed to be in bed like 8:30. I was 8 years old. I probably stayed up. I was allowed to stay up until maybe 9:30, and I transcribed all the lyrics. And then I went to school the next day, me performing Rapper's Delight for like all my 4th grade class members. And that's, of course, like adults were like, oh, it'll never last. It's a fad. But when it really called to me was in 1988. So there was like a 50s themed McDonald's called Big Al's based on Happy Days. And I worked there. And this is the morning that It Takes a Nation of Millions by Public Enemy came out, which, if you know of their production style, it was they wanted to sound like music's worst nightmare. So they would just pack in like 19 samples in one song.
Right.
Just sounded like, they said that they wanted their music to sound like what crack feels like because it was the crack era.
Damn, I didn't know that.
Which is why all my chapters are based on the 5-year.
Yes.
The first phase cocaine, second phase.
Yeah, you have one of the more interesting ways of breaking hip hop down. Like where most people would talk about hip hop just in a decade, or most they would say this was an era. You broke hip hop down by the drug that was pervasive at the time.
Yeah.
And You know, it's one of those things in stand-up. We always talk about it. We go, there's always that moment where a comedian will get on stage and they will say something so painfully obvious that you don't understand why you never saw it, but it is so genius because nobody could see it because it was right in front of them. I feel like you revealed that with the way you broke hip hop down. Like,
well, when Chuck D said, like, we wanted to be music's worst nightmare, and because it was the crack era, he wanted his music to sound what crack felt like.
right.
And then I realized, oh, so when the Chronic came 5 years later, Dr. Dre slowed the music down, and
Yes.
that's the sound of weed.
Yep.
But then when the 97 Bad Boy era really started to kick in, that was the sexy, that's the ecstasy era. And then when the South first started coming in, that's the sizzurp era. And then, of course, with Molly, opioids, fentanyl, like we're going through each phase. Every 5 years, the drug of choice that we self-soothe on changes. That's how the music changes.
Right.
Like, this is the numbing era. This is the era of no
damn.
feelings. I don't want to feel. Numb.
Damn.
And some people are totally emo. So you either 12,000% emo or no feelings, which is why everyone sounds numb. Like, that's why mumble culture doesn't make sense to my generation. Like, I grew up in the crack era.
Right, because it doesn't match up with what you experienced or how you were living that life. I genuinely love how you find these threads, how you connect them, how you know, in the book you talk about your journey in hip hop, the Roots' journey in hip hop, and I love the connection that you have with Tariq, where it's like, you know, here we are seeing the foundations of Black Thought and Questlove, seeing them go from boys growing up, as you say, you know, from tweens to teens, from teens to young men, and then you're in hip hop.
See, our narrative was that we were working class musicians, which really isn't sexy. There's nothing sexy about, hey, we're a hardworking band, because the narrative, a lot of the narrative, especially of the crack era, which is 1987 to 1992. Is the idea of winning.
Yeah.
Which is why the idea of Scarface, we don't love the movie Scarface. The idea of Scarface is what we love. And
right.
If anything, I think like Jay's life sort of mirrors that. Like, I'm gonna buck the system.
Right.
And then I'm gonna evolve and become the system.
Right.
That's pretty much how like America was built. Like, off of
everyone,
money,
yeah, the Kennedys,
drug
the
money.
Rockefellers, you name it,
corrupt money, and then somehow they became
you become the establishment,
the respectable establishment. For us, though, had Tariq and I, like, again, even the idea, we were really the Roots in name only because, like, we went to high school. When you're in high school and Boys to Men are Boys to Men in high school. And I don't mean like this before they had a record deal, but it was like the Beatles on Sullivan.
Yeah.
Like, they would walk down the block and girls, oh my God, and singing the girls in the bed. And I'm like, oh, they're cheap, man. Like, singing the girls. And like, we can't do that. And so we started a group, but it was in name only. And it was only when I was coming back from my audition, I auditioned to go to the New School or Juilliard. And coming back home, Tariq was with me for my audition. This real pretty girl in kind of a Grey Poupon commercial way says, "Excuse me, are you the drummer that plays in that Spike Lee bucket commercial?" Now, yes, I was the drummer in the Boyz II Men Motown Philly video, but because a very popular Spike Lee commercial for The Gap, where it was like a bucket drummer. You know, we see musicians busking all the time, but back in like 1991, it was weird to see a guy playing drumsticks in a bucket. And she was so beautiful. I said, "No, I'm not." And she was like, "Oh, okay." And she sauntered off and left the train. And Tariq looked at me like, "You dumb motherfucker, you dumb." And so cut to the next day, we're watching Soul Train and that Spike Lee commercial comes on.
Yeah.
And literally, it was like the Eureka, what I call the Doc Brown flex capacitor inspiration moment. Like, we just slow looked at each other like, "Yo, let's do that." and cut to 2 hours later, us going to South Street, busking. And, the summer of 1992 is kind of where a year later we'll have a record deal and we will be the Roots, as you know it at least.
Right.
And the thing is that in our narrative, like we just never had a story of like, we won. And that's what hip hop was at the time. Like, I won. I got more than you.
Right.
We were telling the truth. We weren't rich.
Yep.
We weren't,
Put your rollies in the sky, wave them side to side.
We didn't think to lie to people.
Yeah.
Or I don't think it's lying to people. I think it's sort of manifesting what your future is. And then it comes.
But then what do you think the secret to your staying power has been as a group?
When people used to ask before, I would playfully joke that, the reason why the Roots existed for 30 plus years is because 2 tour buses. And I used to say Slytherin and Gryffindor. But I now realize something, which is oftentimes artists have this obsession with perfection.
Yeah.
You hear Michael Jackson, like, it must be perfect. Prince is world famous for rehearsing his band like 15 hours a day. Perfection. That's not the key. The key is, like, when you're trying to manage your destiny or rehearse your destiny, it never works. Literally, all you have to do is left foot, right foot. Left foot, right foot. And yeah, some of those times are trepidation. There have been moments where, like, I don't like the way the audience looks, like, they don't know who we are. Like,
yeah.
And I'll overthink it. But it's just show up. So I don't think, people, well, you guys are super talented. You da-da-da-da. You have the ability to collaborate with whoever. Nah, we're still, we show up. And that's literally, I believe that's the true answer. I try to make science of it all, like, well, because we're responsible, or, we're drug-free, or we're,
no,
we went to counseling.
Just show up.
You literally show up.
But you know what I think it is? I think, I'd love to hear what you think it is as well, is like, I think as artists, if we're honest about it, there is a great fear that comes with doing what we're doing because you are directly attached to the product that you are creating. It is a direct expression of who you are. It's a direct moment where you're exposing yourself. It's like another opportunity to be rejected. It's another opportunity for it to not go right. It's another opportunity. Like, let's say the music itself can go on without you. But when we talk about, let's say, a live performance, every live performance is a new performance. Do you know what I mean? You step on stage, and if your timing is off, and if your drumming is off, and if Thought misses some lyrics, or if he messes something up, that crowd doesn't say, oh, no, it's fine because the album is perfect. They go, that was terrible.
But, you show me someone, no one actively plans on, let me ruin this moment.
Yeah.
But I guarantee you, at least 90% of the time, it's someone that's in their head. I learned that worrying is literally praying to be sabotaged. Whew. Man, I hope I don't drop a drumstick. When you worry, when you allow your brain to go to that place.
Yeah, to focus on the thing.
Shout out to Lauren Zander for inventing the term mana fucking. That's when you start mana fucking. So it's I guarantee you, behind every moment of that level of sabotage or bad performance, that's because a person's mind's not clear. I don't, like, before you go on stage, because your level of entertainment is more intimate because you have to talk to people.
Yeah.
Like, do you at least, I have to sit in silence 15 minutes before I go on stage or DJ just so that I can ground myself and get in that zone?
I'm the complete opposite.
Oh, you got to be all hyped and listen to music?
No. It's funny. Everyone has a different routine. So Chris Rock, he almost has like a meditative Zen. Everyone has to leave the room. Right. And then he focuses and he goes in. But he's also...
Does he still have that Prince...
I think so.
Does he have his Prince altar?
Yeah. But I think he's also one of the most precise comedians. So I get why he needs that, And then Kevin Hart, he's like a lot more loose. He'll just do the thing. He'll laugh with people, Dave Chappelle's always playing music. That's one thing. Like, when you walk backstage, Dave Dave Chappelle is playing music, and the music is setting the scene, setting the vibe. For me, it's people. I need my people backstage because
Really?
yeah, because the thing I'm trying to do is, for me, I'm trying to bring you Trevor when I get on stage. I don't want to become somebody else. I'm not trying to become somebody else. I'm trying to introduce you to the funniest version of who I am. And that is like when people know me. When people meet me for the first time, a lot of people are disappointed. They're like, oh man, I thought you'd be a little more, I thought you speak more. I thought you'd be funnier. But I'm like, no, most of the time I'm processing information. I'm observing the world. I'm quiet.
I was about to say, you're the first comedian I met that, like, if any particular artist has kind of a duplicitous existence where there is Dr. Jekyll and Hyde, comedians to me are that. Like, every comedian I know, it's like life of the party on stage.
Yeah.
But the level of darkness that I witnessed out of it. And then I realized, like, oh, comedy is one of the best distracting, nothing to see here. Like, I don't want you to see the real me, so let me be funny as hell to throw off the smoke.
Yep.
But you actually, you might be the beginning of a new generation that might be genuinely you and adjusted, at least from outside looking in.
Yeah, no, I try to be. I try to be as much as I can because I realized this, and maybe you can relate as a performer. What I realized was, if I'm going to spend my life doing something, then I would like to spend my life doing something that'll help me be the best version of me versus spending my life doing something where I'm somebody else, and then I have to come to grips with the other person I am whenever I come off stage. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know.
So that's why what I'm trying to do is I walk out onto the stage and I'm trying my best for you as the audience to feel what I'm like with my friends. And if you meet me in the street and if I'm at a restaurant, that's me. That's just how I am, because then I don't have to turn it on and I don't have to turn it off and I don't have to think about which Trevor's coming today, which Trevor's showing up. No, I like that.
I used to worry about that because I think, at least for me, it was really, I'm in an even weirder space because I know I have people that admire me.
Yeah.
But it's not the Beatles' Hard Day's Night. Like, a pack of girls aren't chasing me down an alleyway. And it's weird. Like, sometimes I'll walk down the block and it's always like, some guy's like, dog, like, that album changed my life, man, back in college. And thank you very much. And it's always, and I'll be high, like, wow, thanks. And then what always happens is whoever he's with, usually his date or whatever, I can hear maybe like 5 seconds of the conversation as I walk away. And it's always the tune of like, you don't know Questlove? The Roots. You know the Roots. You know Jimmy Fallon. Yo, you remember Will Smith tonight? You know Questlove? And that always just, but I used to always, I would say that I was the person that would sort of self-evidence reasons why I don't deserve stuff.
That's interesting.
So
that's it. You talk a little bit about that. You talk a little bit about that in the book,
and that's going to ground me.
I actually would like to get into that. Like, in the book you talk about almost experiencing hip hop through an anti-hip hop lens, and not against hip hop, but rather the machismo in hip hop, the vibe. For instance, even when we talk about weight, there's a really fascinating part of the book where you're talking about how Biggie and Big Pun and Fat Joe and all of these artists, how they use their weight in a different way. Rick Ross, you name it, and you very candidly share your story and how like you are grappling with your weight in a different way, and you don't seem to have the same command over it, and it's almost not a tool in your arsenal.
I never thought this could be sexy. For me, I realized super late in my life that we are going to self-soothe on something when we're not aligned.
Yeah.
Like, I don't see like a cocaine addict as like, oh, you just chose drugs. I now think like, okay, you're self-soothing because of another issue.
Right.
And there's different types of addictions that we don't think about. Like we don't think that, yes, there's the greatest hits one. There's drugs and alcohol. There's gambling. But then there's some other that we don't think about. And for a lot of it, the amount of times that I've like celebratorily like, let's go to dinner. Or, you know, in the studio, I'll just have, you know, my writer like 10 different types of cereals. Like, I didn't realize the amount of times that I would just casually, I'm a foodie. I write books about food. So, you know, I called it, my excuse was being a foodie. But then someone challenged me once during the pandemic, like, well, I dare you to not do that. And we'll see if you're an addict. And literally, like, I was like Chris Rock in New Jack City, like, I need Captain Crunch. I need Captain. And I didn't realize that was my drug, you know. I didn't realize that this was my shield to keep people away from me.
Wow.
You don't realize that at the time. So, and it's an everyday struggle. Like just to, you know, I want to be an example without being the guy that you like, you see on Instagram, and I want to be I don't want to be the hall monitor.
Yeah. You're not the instructor type. You're the
I want to lead by example. So I mean, the fact that Chuck, Flavor, Ice-T, LL in a few seconds are making it to 60 is like, that's a true reason for celebration. But I also know that those individuals have also reached a crossroads in their lives where they have to, you know, I didn't know that Chuck D, you know, revealed to me that, you know, he does meditations and do these things that I used to laugh at. I used to laugh at all yoga, meditating.
But then how did you find the balance? How did you know, one of the things I notice about us as people is we risk swinging wildly from one extreme to another. So I'll meet people who, like you say, they self-soothe, whether it's food or whether it's partying or whatever it is. And then I meet them, and then now it's like they self-soothe by being the complete opposite, and it's extreme, and nothing is a joke, brother. Let me pray with you for a moment. Let me meditate with you in this moment, and I do everything is the devil, and you know when people get a new toy, like I had cousins come home from jail, like, and you know that when you do a bid in jail, like you're going to either find God or you know, half my family was Muslim, you know. Like prayer rug in the middle of the street, like, all right, here we go. All right, give you a salat. All right. Now, can we talk about, you know, TV again? I was that person, and then I realized, like, you got to be the example instead of preaching the example. I wanted to ask you that about music. Are you able to listen to music without the rule? And I don't mean the rules of, like, what music is supposed to be or not be. But there are a few people I know of who can break music down. So for instance, you have these playlists that you'll send out to people, right? And one of the reasons I love your playlists is because I love discovering new music. So when you listen to music, I'd love to know, like, are you able to turn off your precision and your perfection, or are there moments where like it bites at you?
I'm a stickler for detail.
Okay.
And so the reputation of the Roots being a band or whatever is often the fact that we can mirror exactly what the song does.
Got it.
Kind of not in a karaoke way, but, you know, the artist always says, wow, you guys sound just like the record.
Exactly.
Right. And so I'm always on the band about, like, no, the thing goes like this on the record. You know, does the average layman person care? Probably not. Am I tightly wound? Probably so, but someone has to be the captain. So that's usually where I'll get the ridicule. Like, I know on the other Roots thread without a mirror, that's where I know where the conversation is going. But the reason why, or the main reason why I did these playlists, I think I started doing this way back. Blue Ivy was born when, like, 2013? 2013, I think.
Yeah, I'm terrible with years.
Yeah, 2013, 2012, around that era. And so my gift to the Carters was like, look, and this is back when it was just iPods.
Mm-hmm.
I said, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fill up a whole bunch of music with iPods, and in her crib, just have this music playing
Oh, man,
subliminally.
that's beautiful.
And then, because I think if you can get kids before there's, and I don't mean like, I'm not the kind of guy that wants you to listen to the music I listen to.
But it's just being exposed to, it's like languages.
I think it expands your mind. So I initially started making iPods for the Carters, but then Jay will be like, yeah, we kept them things to ourselves. Like, and then the other thing was kind of my occasional eye roll at Obama's summer playlists. Like, okay, all right, who's really feeding you this music? All right,
nobody gives him credit. Come on.
Let me, and I'll hit him up. I'm like, yo, dog, like, okay, who's your trainers doing this? Like your interns. So what wound up happening was initially First Lady Michelle had me make her a bunch of playlists because she was doing like a book tour and wanted cool music to play when she would do her speeches, whatever. And then it just started expanding. So it's, to me, I'm the guy that's willing to, do the needle and haystack for the perfect song. All those songs that I choose are songs that give me goosebumps. Like no song is on there by accident.
Not to put you on the spot, but if you were to choose just five songs where you go,
see?
No, just like, and it might be like, it might even be the top of mind that I'm looking for. I know I'm putting you on the spot.
I'm gonna tell you something.
From 5 genres where you go, you're on an island, you're trapped. This is it. 5 songs for the rest of the time. You can't even make music. 5 songs.
When off the clock, I don't listen to music more than I listen to like ambient noises.
Oh, that is fascinating.
So right now, like if you would say like, what is my favorite song? For me, fork tuning music is my all-time. It's not even music anymore. But the sounds of ding, like that to me is like, because I need that. My life is so chaotic. But I mean, if you just want me to name like tangible songs or tangible music, I would choose. Okay, if you're a fan of Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys, and you know the story of how he struggled for 40 years to make the follow-up to the Pet Sounds album. Mm-hmm. He finally completed this album, I think in 2009, 2010 or whatever. Like finally it's in its complete stage. It's called Smile. And there's a song called Wind Chimes that is just my relaxing place.
So that's the relaxing one. I like
That's a relaxing one. Number 2, Bill Withers has a version of Grandma's Hands on Live from Carnegie Hall.
Okay.
1972, 73. That has a long monologue at the beginning of it. And when I was a kid, my parents and grandparents used to always make me perform the monologue.
Oh, wow.
Bill's telling the story of what it was like growing up in West Virginia in his grandmom's house and going to church. And it was like the comedian thing, like white churches and black churches. Black churches do this.
Yeah.
White churches do this. And I used to do that routine when I was like 3 or 4. So let's say the live version of Grandma's Hands.
Okay, live version. What does that do feeling-wise for you?
It's probably the rosiest childhood memory I have.
Okay. So it's like, it's warm. It's
that warm feeling.
All right, okay.
There's a song called There Comes a Time by the Tony Williams group. Tony Williams was the drummer for Miles Davis. He went solo and did a song called There Comes a Time. There Comes a Time was the first night of the Roots, as you know it, when we saw the commercial and went on South Street to busk.
Yeah.
It was such a victory night that at the end of the night, we took our $120 and we went to Wawa and to get a hoagie and some lemonade. And we just sat in the car, like, feeling accomplished, thinking like, so we going to do this next week or? Yeah, we're going to do this next week. We might make $200. And this avant-garde DJ had played Tony Williams' There Comes the Time. We just thought it was the oddest thing we ever heard. And it turns out, we don't know it at the time, but that DJ will wind up being like the Roots' brain trust and longtime manager until he passed away of leukemia, Richard Nichols. So we will meet that person in about 3 months, not knowing that he was the DJ for Jazz 90
Damn,
on
that's
Temple.
Beautiful. So that's the weird one. So we got calm.
Yeah, that's the weird one.
Yeah, we got calm. We got homely. We got weird. What's like a hype? Is there like a hype song?
For my generation, when Rebel Without a Pause came out by Public Enemy, the song actually encapsulates the angst that teenage me feels inside that can't express it.
Right.
This loud siren noise that keeps going. Like, it's every parent's nightmare. But for me, it's like, yeah, this is how I feel inside. So Rebel Without a Pause by Public Enemy.
Okay. That's like catharsis. I like that.
Yeah.
All right.
The
and then
last
final
song I'll say is a rather normal song, but there's a moment where in 1983, Prince releases a remix version of Little Red Corvette. Now, are you familiar with the phrase, it's called code switching?
Yeah.
So code switching, for those that don't know, oftentimes if you come from one side of town, you might often have to chameleonize yourself to adjust to where you're going.
Mm-hmm. Switching to that office voice.
Right. Yeah. So if I'm back in my old neighborhood at home.
Good to see you again, buddy.
Right, exactly. At home, I know to lower my voice. Yo, what's up, man? How you doing? Yeah, I'll take a shrimp fried rice and, what? Oh, word, that's what's up, yo. Thanks. But when I'm at office, hello there, how are you? Like, it's a level of code switching. Prince, what makes Prince such a genius is often when he releases singles, he knew what he would have to do in order to gain the audience that he wanted.
Oh, interesting.
Which is why songs like Raspberry Beret exist, which is why like nice songs like Take Me With You exist. There's a level of winkage that he's doing to a wider audience that he's trying to grab. But he's also telling his black audience, I know where I came from. You know what I mean? So he'll often remix a song and blackenize it in very subtle ways that you don't notice it.
Okay.
So what happens is 12-year-old me is thinking that he's hearing the album version of Little Red Corvette. But then suddenly in the 3-minute period, the bass line changes. And I'm like, wait, this feels different. This is not the AM, FM radio rock song that Little Red Corvette was. Suddenly it's black as shit. So what I'll later learn is that oftentimes for pop radio, you'll want to stick to major chords.
Okay.
Because it feels safe and it feels inviting. Minor chords, the black keys, are often dark, and that's sort of up our alley. You know, it's funkier. It has edge to it. There's mystery to it. There's bite to it. And the moment I realized that you can turn any song into the major version, which is safer, or the minor version, which is edgier, that totally transformed me. So for me, hearing Little Red Corvette, the remix dance version, just that made Prince God in my mind.
That unlocked something in you.
In a way that no other artist could do that.
Don't go anywhere, because we got more What Now after this. You know, I'll tell you this, Amir, like, there are few things that I have been to or experienced where there is more lore that is spread about them than your legendary game nights. Yo, the amount of lore and fiction and myth about your game nights is out of this world. People ask me questions. It's almost like your game night has become Illuminati, because people will say to me, they'll be like, Trevor, I saw you made it into one of Questlove's game nights.
Right.
Pray do tell what happens in there. I heard that there are people, and you're like, well, it's a game night. It's just a game night.
Someone once joked to me, they were like, you know, I can't believe you hit jackpot doing one of the most wholesome.
It is the most wholesome event.
It's so wholesome.
Ever.
I'm embarrassed. The reason why I don't talk about it, the reason why I'm sort of like Fight Club with it, isn't because we're doing this debaucherous Studio 54 thing. It's Studio 54 levels of fun,
yes,
but it's so damn square. And I think I happen to know that that's the specific reason why people come over. Because the thing is, like, okay, we'll invite about maybe we'll try to aim for 60 people, and we'll carefully curate things. And I got to go through. You know, some people have security details. Some people have. You've seen the amount of people that have been here. But the thing is that it's such an unpretentious, normal moment. I'll give you an example. All right, so the first time that Taylor Swift came, it was literally to zero fanfare. Like, she just walked in, and I didn't even know she was there until 10 minutes in, and I was like, oh, okay, she did show up. That's what's up. She just sits down at Bum B's table and plays Uno. And that's the thing, like, what I realized, the reason why I threw game night is because I work so much, I don't prioritize joy, and fun things, and I'll figure out a way to monetize my joy. Like, DJing used to be my joy; it's still my joy, but now
it's also your job.
But it's a job; it's an occupation. Drumming is a job and an occupation. Journaling, is a job and an occupation, but these used to be my passions. So with game night, at least, there is a 4 to 5 hour period in which 60 strangers are amongst each other, just playing around. But then the next night, I'll get the text, and it'll just be like, yo, man, like, dude, thank you so much. Like, I got to talk to J.J. Abrams about what I thought of and this designer's talking to that writer. And it's not even an elitist thing, because I have...
No. Half of the room is just friends of Questlove who nobody knows from anything or anywhere. That's just, you know?
Right.
That was the most fun I had, was sitting at the table with your boy. I don't even know where he's from.
But it also tells me a lot about people. Look, the way Michael Che hit me, like, yo, dog, man... I was like, yo, you have fun, because this whole thing was like, Michael Che was one of them cats that couldn't quite realize, like, wait, so we're just coming to play games?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah. We even had like one particular artist who's like, security detail had to come and sweep the place. And they asked us, like, so where's your medic at? And I was like, medic? It's like, yeah, medic in case something happens. I said, dog, it ain't that type of party. Like, they were like, wait. You guys are really here to, and the way they laughed, like,
cereal,
you're here to
play Uno,
to play games.
Yeah,
and I was like, yeah, and they looked at each other like, wait, that's all y'all doing? I was like, yeah, we're playing games, and they couldn't believe it. And then they witnessed it and was like, oh, this was fun. But literally, at the end of the night, I hit him and I was like, so what'd you think? And he was just like, man, it's like Trevor kept. Now, I know Che is the type of guy that will pull another rule out of his hat without establishing.
Completely.
Right. So
let's get into this. I like how people will be like, your reputation is that you're a rule follower. So
am I.
No, but here's the thing that's more specific for me.
Okay.
I'm competitive. Okay, we start with this. I'm competitive. And the thing I never understand is this. If we cannot agree on the rules of a game, then how can we agree on who has won or lost said game?
Right.
The thing that gets me is let's just agree on the rules. I'll be playing Uno with somebody. I'll be playing Crazy 8 with somebody. I'll be playing whatever card game it is. I'll be playing a game with somebody. And then they'll go, oh, no, that doesn't do that. So it's like, okay, wait, let me just look. Official rules.
Right.
This is what I'm saying. Official rules of Uno is that if somebody puts down a take two, you cannot add to that. Now, I'm saying I play the game where you can as well, but yo, man, I can play and one. I can play NBA. I can play, like, you know what I mean, 3v3. I can play every style of game.
A lot of my black guests. All right, so I got a lot of pushback from my black guests.
Because we stack.
Right. So there's levels of stacking.
And I love stacking, but let's agree that we're stacking.
I get it. Yes, you're right. And so
let's agree, people. That's all I'm saying. Because sometimes what happens is it goes halfway around the table, and then someone else goes, "Oh no, but you don't stack," and then everyone at the table is like, "Oh, okay, no, not okay."
Yeah.
So here's what happened on that one in particular. So we weren't playing one game. So what I love about your game nights is you'll get to a table, you'll find a game.
Yeah.
You don't even know what game you're going to play. So you get to the table, there's a whole bunch of games laid out. And on this occasion, there was a Barbie version of Uno. Okay? Which I've never played before. I don't think anyone's played before.
Mattel sent us every type of Uno
there was like
game.
a special type of Barbie Uno. So now there were new rules.
Yes.
Okay? So now everyone's at the table going, what do we do? Now, I'm not the kind of person who will pontificate on the possibilities of playing when I can just pull out the instructions.
The rule books, right.
If we don't know how to play the game, let's read the instruction. So I go, let me read the rules. Michael Che goes, of course you're going to read the rules. Then I'm like, what do you mean, of course? Do you not wish to know how to play the game? He's like, I'm sure we can figure it out. I'm like, we cannot figure it out. I don't know what a Margot Robbie card does. I don't know if you do. He's like, we can figure it out. No, Michael Che, we cannot figure it out. And my thing is, Michael Che is so cool. He's going to be like, he's going to ooze cool. But he's one of those people who will confidently walk down the wrong road.
Right.
Just to, like, I'm the kind of person to be like, let's pull out a map and see if we're headed in the right direction.
You and I are the same.
Right?
Yes, we're born in the same.
I read the rules, and it turns out, like, the America Ferrera card and the Margot Robbie card are very different.
Exactly.
And there's a lot of things you got. The Issa Rae card has a different vibe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The Kate McKinnon card does a completely different thing. So these are all things that I was trying to explain to the group so we could make the game fun. Because if the rules don't exist, then the game isn't.
But yeah, you got a reputation as the hall monitor.
Man, he even at the table, he was roasting me. You know what? I had every trauma from school come back.
I knew it.
Where I felt like a nerd who had like actually done the reading or actually
teacher's pet.
That was him.
Exactly.
That was him. Michael's lucky I went to therapy.
It was good for someone to have it instead of me because I'm always the teacher.
You're usually that guy.
So I was like, whew, all right, Trevor took the heat off me.
This is like, I'm here for game night. I'm not here for socializing night. I'm here for game night. The socializing is secondary to that experience. So I'm here predominantly for the game.
I've realized, so moving forward, we decided that each table should have their own captain, and that captain will establish what the house rules are.
That is what I'm talking about.
So next time, Trevor, you will have your own table. It's your rules.
I don't even need to be a captain. I just need the captain to know what the rules of the game are.
No, you're a captain, dog. Like,
I'll take it. I love it, man. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here now. Because honestly, this is, wow.
Thank you.
What Now with Trevor Noah is produced by Spotify Studios in partnership with Day Zero Productions and Fullwell 73. The show is executive produced by Trevor Noah, Ben Winston, Sanaz Yamin, and Jody Avigan. Our senior producer is Jess Hackle. Marina Henke and Claire Slaughter are our producers. Music, mixing, and mastering by Hannes Brown. Thank you so much for listening. Join me next Thursday for another episode of What Now?